we go to the Mesa. It is a pleasure to be joined by the athletic director for San Diego State University, Jim Sterk, on San Diego Sports Leader XX 1090. Jim, great to have you back on the show. How have you been?
Oh, not too bad, Josh. Thanks for having me on.
Indeed. A pleasure. Now, Jim, even though the Aztecs fell to North Carolina State, as you look back on this year for Coach Fisher and just the whole tournament itself, are you enjoying the madness?
Yeah, I kind of lost this interest a little bit after we were done, but certainly just a great season for both our men's and women's programs, and both being able to make it, and actually one of only two universities in the state to make it to both men's and women's, and then also football. Cal was the other one. So
wow.
So a great year overall. Coach Fisher getting League Coach of the Year and Player of the Year by Jamal. So a lot of good things.
Jim, we were talking about a lot of different things as far as college basketball goes over the past couple of days, but I really want to get into this academic progress thing as far as teams being ineligible for the NCAA tournament if they don't satisfy it with the NCAA. And it kind of brings me up to a guy like Kawhi, where maybe San Diego State didn't have to worry about that back in the past, but Kawhi obviously leaving after 2 years. Coach Fisher bringing in a guy, a 6'9" point man who seems like he has a talent to be a quick, maybe one and done, two or done, something like that. Do you discuss that with Coach Fisher, how it could be ramifications if you get those type of guys who leave early?
Yeah, it is something that you need to be aware of, and it's actually getting more stringent as we move along, and the penalties more severe. So it's tough. You want to have a player like that, but the thing that you need to have is them to leave under good academic standing. So, but unfortunately, the way the NBA is, they once our season's done, then they go to workouts and training, and then then the draft. They want to prepare for the draft, so it's tough for them to finish their spring semester, and you really can't blame a guy like Kawhi, who's really having great success this year in the NBA, for doing that. But it puts us at risk for potentially scholarship loss or postseason play.
And Jim, when you mention that risk and the danger of having sanctions hurt your programs, is it to the point where, although you can control many things, that's just out of your control?
I think, Coach Fisher and I sat down after the season and we were talking about that and strategy, and obviously we want to, educate the kids that are a year away, from that occurring, and what can they do, what can they do to, prepare and be ready. So, that's, it isn't totally in our control, and it's not totally in Coach Fisher's control either.
When you look at that rule, is that something that you think that you would kind of give the NCAA the backing of as far as the academic progress report, or do you see more holes in it than anything?
I think it's good overall, and what, differentiates us from the pros is we want to have that academic side, and we want our kids to get an education that'll last them a lifetime, and so that's not all bad, to have some teeth into that, and really try to encourage kids to finish up, or at least leave under good academic standing, so that even if they didn't finish, they can come back and maybe a semester or so before they can get their degree.
We're talking to Aztecs Athletic Director Jim Sterk on San Diego Sports Leader XX 1090. Jim, it's good to have you on the show because we've been discussing so many college topics, and then said we should probably ask Jim about that. But a topic came up today about the money that is generated through these big time tournaments and bowl games, and we had a caller say, guys, that money just goes back into sports. But as you guys head to the Big East in football, and more money will be generated by heading to a BCS conference, where does the money go? Does it go to classrooms, or does it just go right back into the sports programs?
It goes back into, the programs, but then also, people don't realize that we only have two programs of our 19 that are, if you looked at it from a business standpoint, have net revenue. And so the rest of that money goes back into the scholarships, the travel, the salaries for all those sports that don't make money. And, the water polos, the golfs, the tennises, and so you can have a complete program. And so our challenge, and why it was, necessary for us to go to a league like the Big East and have a television contract that's larger, is we're also getting cut on the state. We lost about $1.6 million over the last 2 years, and it's probably going to go down some more. And then tuition is going up. So our scholarships in the last 5 years have gone from, I think it's it's gone up over over $3 million in the last 5 years, our scholarship bill. So those kinds of challenges. So with our increased revenue, increased TV contracts, that just allows you to stay where you've been, given the economics of the situation.
Talking to Jim Sterk, Athletic Director for San Diego State University. Jim, we had a caller call up, made a good point. You kind of just touched up on this a little bit in your previous answer right there, but I know you want to have a complete athletic department, but why do you have to have a football team earn X amount of dollars and then disperse it? How come you just can't have that team make that money, keep that money, and then it's kind of the survival of the fittest, if you will?
Well, there's no way to fund those programs. There's, the universities, they're balancing, trying to have their academic program. So an athletic program, it might, revert more to a club status. But in order to be Division I, you need to have six men's sports and 6 women's at a minimum, and then you throw in gender equity and Cal Now, and that's where we get with 6 men and 13 women's sports. So it's in order to have a program at Division I, you need to have a minimum, but then you throw in those other two, the Cal Now and Title IX, then it has to balance out and has to match your undergraduate population, and ours is 58% female. I know, Josh, you liked that when you were there. But the guys have a great situation there. So, but it does require us to match that with our sports program.
Not that I want you to give any names of coaches or anything like that, but when you talk about dispersing money from a basketball program or a football program to your major moneymakers, there's a discussion about what you're going to give to other programs in the university. Does it ever get contentious? Separate sports.
No, I think, our coaches realize that, football is the big dog and as far as making the money, so that if football is successful, they're going to be successful and it's going to help their program. So we have pretty good camaraderie, and Rocky's, the coaches interact with him really well, and even our new lacrosse coach, Kylie White, and Rocky have gotten to become, good colleagues, and so it's a good, healthy situation right now, and that's what's special about intercollegiate athletics.
Hey, Jim, obviously we embrace the Big East for football, but the last time we spoke, we talked about the Big West, and you convinced us that it's not going to be so bad for hoops, and I think you were right. Although somebody called up and said, what about the West Coast Conference? And I think it's for faith-based private schools. But did you ever entertain the idea of the West Coast Conference?
Thought about it, but really they weren't interested in a public institution coming into that conference, and so that's why you saw today the announcement. It came yesterday actually with Pacific moving in and out of the Big West, and we knew that was going to occur, and so it kind of aligns with what Pacific's private institution status, so they fit in there, But overall, I think the Big West is really solid, and there's some good programs. And we have an opportunity, I think, in the future with another Western Division member into the Big East to maybe have another program come in that may impact basketball in a significant way. So that's what we're talking about now and over the next couple of years.
See, that's what I was wondering about, Jim. Obviously, with you guys set to join the Big West is going to take a step up in prestige. San Diego State right now, as far as a basketball team, 100% legit. So I was wondering, should I read into anything about Pacific being willing to leave a conference when it's about to get that much better, or is it just them going to a conference where they just feel more comfortable?
Yeah, that thing had been long in the works, before we came into the equation as far as Pacific moving into the WCC, and so I think it fits better with their mission and their programs, and so it doesn't that doesn't matter, and I think from a standpoint their RPI, has been down. It's not like they're, the strongest program in the Big West, so it doesn't hurt the league. And I was just up there, Tuesday, and had Big West meetings and meeting with our television partners, Fox, and I think they're very excited to partner with us, and it fits the footprint of Fox, but we have interest from Time Warner as well. So there's competition is good.
The Aztecs athletic director, Jim Sterk, nice enough to join us here on San Diego Sports Leader XX 1090. And Jim, before you go, I know the lingering topic in this town is the Chargers Stadium issue, but that's also an Aztec Stadium issue. How involved are you, if at all, when it comes to discussing the stadium with our local politicians and leaders?
Jerry Sanders has been great, and his staff have been great and involved us, and so we're in the middle of that, and we're looking for what's best for the Aztecs, and I think that can be good also for the Chargers, and we're supportive of obviously the Chargers program, and the Spanos, the great family to have in San Diego, and they do a lot, and want to continue to work with them, but we're going to look out for what's best for the Aztecs, and we want to make sure we have a great opportunity in the future as this program grows.
Does the idea of playing a game at Petco Park appeal to you? I know, forget the logistics, forget the details, but just Aztecs football, one game at Petco Park, does that sound appealing?
As a one-off, it might,
yeah.
but I think for a steady diet of it, I really like the fact that our students are only 2 trolley stops away.
Yeah.
And for the students to go downtown, it's like a 45 minutes. They've got to switch to trolley, and just, it's not a steady diet of it would be healthy for us, I don't think.
Jim, as always, we appreciate your time. Great to speak with you. Let's talk soon.
All right. Thanks, guys.
You
Thanks
got
for
it.
having me on.